Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Guile here, and welcome back to the Forged Alliance Forever promotional series. It's top pro level ladder action this afternoon. Exciting stuff, I'm sure you'll agree. First of all, I'd like to say hello and welcome to the new subscribers. There's been a real bump of you lately because a couple of videos ago I put a slightly lewd thumbnail attached to the video with a large artillery piece, and apparently that's all it takes. There you go, you've been outed, but fantastic to have you back nonetheless. Hope you enjoy the content, and if you do and you're not 100% sure what the game is Supreme Commander Forged Alliance. It's available on Steam for £10, $15 US, there or thereabouts. It does fluctuate every now and again, especially when there are sales on, so look out for those. And once you have that game installed, you need to download the Forged Alliance Forever multiplayer client. You can find a link to that in the description below this and each and every one of my videos. What will that allow you to do? Well, it'll allow you to come check out our replay vaults, our mod vaults, come play with us, chat with us, and get involved with all the other stuff that goes on in the community. Once you've made the initial outlay for the game, all the rest of that extra content for a game that's constantly being upgraded and rebalanced by the community is absolutely free. So why not get on down, check it out. Yes, it's difficult, but there's new people joining all the time. Learning curve is steep. There's plenty of people to help you grasp the fundamentals, and then it's just pure joy all the rest of the way. So that's enough of that. Also, a little bit of a message coming in from Rowie. He's one of the bods on FAF's promotional team. Might actually be the promotional counselor. But anyway, he's looking for more people who want to volunteer their services on the promotional side. He's given me a link to put in the description, and incidentally, if that's not there, you know what to do. Shout and abuse me in the comment section until I make it so. Just looking for people with graphical graphical skills, graphical things, people who can do stuff, clever things on computers that will help the thing. Anyway, it's all in the frame. Go check that out. Also, if you fancy your luck at the upcoming Legend of the Stars tournaments, the big FAF annual tourney, there is a qualifying tournament going down. I think that starts on November the 20th. Sign-ups are live, so do check that out. I'll put that in the description below as well. Hopefully it's all there. If it's not, abuse me. But anyway, as we said, it's going to be ladder. It's going down on the Bermuda Locket. I'm ready. You guys are ready, and the players are sure as hell ready. So let's go on over to the game zone and see how they're going to get on. Ching, ka-ching. The Bermuda Locket, the only major map with a massive external ocean and internal pond, and lots and lots and lots of thin, narrow causeways for epic bottlenecks and mass mechanical slaughterage. Let's check out our players. We'll go to the red corner first of all and introduce everybody's favorite Russian. There he is. It's the Sean Bean of Guilecast. Will he survive today? Taking bets now. In fact, answers in the comments section below right now. Don't be clever and wait till the end and pretend that you guessed it right. Answers in the comments section with survive or die. What's it gonna be? Will Slow survive or die today? We shall see. Anyway, he's actually lost a little bit of ladder ranking. He's down below 2,000. But 1961, here he is, and he's going Seraphim today, opening first land, second air. We'll check in on the rest of his build if we're not too late. We've been a bit slow with the introduction today. In just a second, let's introduce his opponent up here in the blue corner, our first and only Cybrin of the day. It's BlInChlk. Here he is, and he is going first land, second air as well. Straight to split screen. Oh, that's interesting. I always thought that, I don't know, I must have tweaked a setting there. No mass points showing up on the other window. But we don't spend a lot of time in it, let's face it. So we'll go to split screen so you guys can examine their openings. We know how you like to do that. And if we hold it up, what have we got here? We've just got all of the P-gens in the world stacking up there for ZLO. Lots of mass, of course, to be hoovered up on Bermuda Locket, but it looks like he went land. It looks like he's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 P-gens potentially, and then on to Air Factory, and then more down here, something like that. What have we got here for BlInChlk? He's gone Land Factory, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Something like that. 1, 2. It's 8. That's basically 10, isn't it? It's 10. Like you could look at the pattern. You don't even need to count Guile. Well, I do because I'm super special. But there it is. Anyway, and he's going straight to an air factory off the back of that, and going straight for an interceptor, playing it defensive right off the bat, not going for a super early bomber. Are we getting early first bomber out from ZLO? No early bomber from him. Looks like he's going straight for an inti as well. So there we have it. We might get a number 2 plane bomber out of one of these guys. We've got inti and scout plane, and then more intis for BlInChlk. We're still waiting on that first plane from ZLO. We are indeed. There is no plane out as yet. ZLO already queuing up some naval yards up there at the top of his eastern causeway. And you can see those planes inbound. Still prowlers all the way for BlInChlk. Ah, there's the bomber. We had to get an offensive unit at some point. It's going to take him a while to spit one of those out. It'd be interesting to see if he can actually get that out of there and on the offensive, being as there are more interceptors moving this way all the time from BlInChlk. It's taking an awful lot to produce that. Where are we? He's way down on mass. What's happening there? Is he power locked? No, he's just not expanding well. So I don't think this is a great start here from ZLO. He spits out a bomber and immediately gets locked onto by those interceptors. Doesn't even get out of the starting territory of ZLO's. Very unfortunate. Was drifting up this way to presumably make some kind of attack on some engineers up towards BlInChlk's base, but doesn't get anywhere near that, and of course straight back to interceptor production for ZLO. Interceptor and then a scout plane. How are we doing now on the mass side of things? Well, his mass production has recovered somewhat. It's still running at a deficit of about 5 to 7 mass. Ah, what have we got here? Cheeky little transport fully laden with 6 engineers. Skyhook on its way, presumably, I guess, to the 3 o'clock position. There we go. He's going to drop some off by the sort of the core mass up here. And another one down here, looking presumably to either wall that off or get an early start. He's not playing super aggressive, trying to go for all of it. And he's withdrawn his interceptors as well to make sure that that gets a safe landing. We do already have naval yards in play, but it wasn't the naval yards that we saw queued up a moment ago for ZLO up here. They're still a ways off their designated engineer. This is the chappie that's coming to build them, going for the 4 mass on the causeway and then the naval yards. But the first naval yards up and running are back here at base, in the base section, the conventional place to start your naval yard production for BlInChlk up here at the top. To complete, another one on the way and another one queued up after that. And we've got a little line now of I nearly said mantis spam. Sometimes the colors can trick you, but no, our red player today is of course Seraphim, so those are Thams moving up the causeway there as interceptors get into it on the northwestern quadrant of the map, circling one another over this causeway. ZLO pulls those other 3 interceptors that were previously on escort duty and brings them into the fight. I think this is probably going to be a win overall, though, for ZLO, who's definitely shredded more interceptors than he's lost. But fighting, of course, right outside BlInChlk's main base. That's going to be a hard position to hold on to for much longer. Meanwhile, BlInChlk getting dug in over here in the east. 3 land factories up by the core mass up here, and 1 more at the defensible position. Probably wants to think about throwing down some kind of point defense, but I think he might be out of time on that front as Thams show up from ZLO. Poor old Bernard didn't get to complete his mass extractor. His instructors had such high hopes for him at the academy as well. Terribly, terribly sad. Brother Tristan doesn't last much longer either, but we do have some defensive units moving in, but just 2 for the Vanguard. Lots of land factories queued up back here though, and more units funneling in all the time. ZLO as yet to get any kind of factory present. This is just land spam drizzling in from the main base across the causeway. ZLO has expanded nicely in the 9 o'clock position. He's got 2 land factories at the southern core mass and 2 at the northern core mass. So this is a little bit more aggressive expansion from ZLO than we saw from BlInChlk. And that might lead to a mild advantage as we move towards the end of the early game here for ZLO. 4 THAMs moving in on some unguarded mass in the middle of that northwestern causeway. Bish bash bosh, got yourself a carbonara, as Jamie Oliver would have once said when he was allowed on TV. No opposition in sight. That'll be 4 easy mechs kills and potentially another 2 vulnerable ones up here unless BlInChlk can get some support down that way. What's happening over at the 3 o'clock position? A mild breakthrough on the ground for ZLO. He's managed to dismantle that factory down here, but he's definitely lacking the numbers to cause any damage further up. Lots and lots of forces surging southward now for BlInChlk, who looks like he's probably going to get a hold on this 3 o'clock position in its entirety. You would imagine so. First frigates for BlInChlk now in the main bay area for ZLO. Of course, the cliff edges makes life difficult for small units like that to really make an impression. ZLO did manage to get those 2 naval yards operational over here. And presumably... oh no, he is aware of them. I was thinking why he wasn't surging that way with all of his frigates. It was an easy opportunity to take that out. But no, instead looking to just harass units on the causeway as and when he can. I think that, personally, seems like a little bit of a mistake to me. ZLO going straight for the submarine. Looking to use that torpedo advantage against some of these frigates, but it does look like BlInChlk now converging on those naval yards. He was probably tied up with all the things going on. As we always say here, it's very easy for us to look critically when we're not the one trying to manage everything. But the trickle of spam from the 9 o'clock position for ZLO making its way all across the northwestern causeway and now threatening the main base. And crucially, he's got some variation in unit comp. He's got some Zuis in here. Light artillery. Excellent at damaging structures compared to the tanks. BlInChlk could really do with some kind of jester or something to help deal with this situation. He has got his comm nearby. Wouldn't hurt to get some gunships out here to help cut off this stream of T1 units, which is now bypassing the main section of the starting location and moving further onto the more, is arguably the more vulnerable side to the east. We're at T2 air now for ZLO. You can see a Volthu gunship lying in wait over here at the 3 o'clock position. Not going straight in for the kill with those. Wants to amass a couple of them. He's sending out another one as we speak. Is he still working on more? Yes, he is. 27% done on the next one. ZLO, meanwhile, pulling his commander to the bay area where he's constructed 2 new naval yards. Did he lose the ones up here? Yes, he did. Not surprising. That was a lot of frigates for him to fend off with just 1 submarine that he had at the time. But I like this. He's dotting new ones around in different locations. So he's actually got the same amount of naval build capacity in this central pond as his opponent now. Nobody as yet going for the exterior ocean. No way to cross over them, of course, unless you're using those saucy Cyberin destroyers. You can sprout the legs and go for a walk across the little traversable section there. Nice little overcharge. Deals with one of the frigates. naval yard very nearly down and out, just 85 hit points, but they've switched targets inexplicably. I don't know why. And now he's not going to get any of them. How very unfortunate. Both badly damaged, though. Could do with getting some engineers in to repair that. The pressure on the eastern half of the map now escalating from BlInChlk as he surges forward with a whole lot of T1 spam. We've got a bit of a mix in here as well. It's not just ground-to-ground units. We've got some Sky Slammers in there to help work on any gunships that might get any ideas. We've even got 1 or 2 Mantis in the main base now. Vulthu's working on finishing those off precariously. The T2 reactors, majorly important power generational facilities right at the front of the base, just where the Mantis are now moving forward. Engineers get to work on some defenses. Is that too little, too late, I wonder? They're not going to last long as the Mantis and the Sky Slammers surge forward. Down goes another engineer. That's a T2 engineer. He'll want to take care of that as quickly as possible. It's nearly finished a T1 PD, though, and that is going to complete, which will afford him a little extra protection. Another point defense completes at the eastern side of the base. That's random hiking expedition. I hear there's lovely views on that side of the island. And ZLO manages to contain the threat. And suddenly, we've had a massive breakout from BlInChlk. He's threatened the main base of ZLO, and he's now threatening the 3 o'clock position with an attack down that northwestern causeway. Torpedo bombers from ZLO have been working on clearing up some of the naval vessels on the internal pond, but that is only reactionary. He has lost the other 2 naval yards up here. These 2 down here still operational, but still not repped up after the last attack. Still that one on just a woeful 85 hit points. A violent burp in the right place will bring that thing down. Love a good burp, me. A nice big chewy one. That's actually a quote. I dare you to go look it up. Answers in the comments section below. An old English favourite from back of the terrestrial TV days of my youth. Nice little bit of point defense down here. Land factory going up as well. Sort of a reserve defensive position in case this one gets overwhelmed. But the threat down this causeway now seems to have dissipated for the time being. And we're actually getting some counter pressure on the southeastern causeway now from ZLO, who's pushing forward. And he's got some T2 ground in play as well. Some Yenzines here. These hover tanks pack a punch. And of course that Vulthu in play as well. Nice unit comp on its way in. Probably wouldn't hurt to throw some flak in there. Although, having said that, we have seen nothing in the way of T2 air tech so far from BlInChlk. But he has got the T2 air factory, and he is bypassing T2 altogether and going straight for T3 air. That could be an interesting decision that could make or break this game for him. That's expensive. How's he doing on the power front? It's only at 3.8k. He is building more reactors up here, getting some shields online for the power plants. But typically they like to get 1 or 2 T3 reactors up before they start spamming out Tech 3 air units. Just as a matter of getting some redundancy on power. You don't want to be sailing too close to the wind on energy usage. A little bit of air attack on the units of BlInChlk here on the southeastern causeway. Does some decent damage, but ultimately that huge horde of Prowler interceptors managed to clear the skies. Let's do a quick check on general air power. 59 T1 interceptors on the field for BlInChlk, and 26 with an extra 3 that are out of fuel in play for ZLO. So definitely an air advantage for BlInChlk, which could be devastating considering he's going straight to T3 air tech. If he can start pumping out a couple of strap bombers, we might see a really nice bombing run materialize in the not too distant future. T2 ground units edging their way forward. We do have T2 ground units from BlInChlk as well. We've got some Wagners up here. No rhinos to speak of. Probably wants to keep his options open regarding all the water on this map, so why not go for the amphibious tanks? Just have a quick look at T2 production facilities. What do we got there? Looks like we've got about 5 ground T2 factories for BlInChlk, and considerably more for ZLO. He's on 8, so a lot more Tech 2 ground production power for ZLO. Approaching the 20-minute mark in this. And if you look on the mini-map, it really does look pretty even. But I think it's fair to say we've got an advantage in the air for BlInChlk and an advantage on the ground for ZLO. ZLO with a decent number of Volthu gunships here, but he'll be afraid to use them. He'll be well aware and slightly anxious of that horde of interceptors that's circling or starts moving every time he makes a move. I like this play. ZLO going full submarine. We do have a Salem here in the mix. If he takes that out, these subs will have free reign until the next one shows up, of course. But he's reluctant to get involved on that side of things for the time being. Over at the 3 o'clock position, units from ZLO moving in. Engineers hurriedly beefing up the bases down here. Lovely T1 bombing run over the top. Takes out all but 1 engineer on this southern group. But importantly, they managed to finish off that point defense. There is some room, though, for ZLO to skirt around it. Potentially get in the back here. Oh, no, there's another point defense here. They have 1 or 2 Zuis with them, so they can take down that puppy at range and then move in to cause more damage. Not sure if they can make it through up there. Does look like a softer approach, but that's probably inaccessible as well. Down goes the point defense, but BlInChlk, wasting no time, has moved in units to cover this position and try and protect those land factories. Lots of scout planes buzzing around the 9 o'clock position, the southern part of the 9 o'clock position over here. Ooh, stealth upgrade on the way for BlInChlk. That's his first commander upgrade. They've not been using their comms in this, of course. You might wonder, well, why not? I mean, there's nothing wrong, essentially, with using it on this map, but you could get yourself in a spot of bother if you lose naval power and you find yourself stranded on a causeway. So you're just a little bit more vulnerable than other places. I like what I'm seeing here, though. ZLO has moved his comm out and is setting up a little bit of a TAC missile base with some point defense and some flak. Could we get an intermediate fire base set up with shielding and everything on the causeway? Well, potentially, although incoming Siren cruiser fire instantly takes out the TAC missile launcher and suddenly makes this position somewhat unviable. As long as those vessels stay nearby, it's going to be very hard for ZLO to set up shop there, which might be why he's withdrawing his comm to safer territory down here. That's a lot of gunships that ZLO has amassed. 16 of them. That will make a pretty mess of your face if you allow it. Look at the sheer quantity of Yenzins in here. So many Seraphim tanks. Hover tanks surging forward along the causeway. Just obliterating the Cybran resistance. This could be a problem for BlInChlk. How has that upgrade to T3 gone? Well, he has got it. He's got a couple of ASFs in play. He has a T3 reactor, and he's queued up 2 more now. And there is the dreaded strap bomber. He will still have air control, but he'll probably be forced to use this defensively now, which will let the cat out of the bag. Some very nicely placed wall sections, though, will impede the progress, and a perfectly placed bomb, though taking out sections of the walls, will take out an awful lot of those T2 tanks, and actually ZLO backing up with that main force somewhat. The forward group are stranded too far ahead. They're going to just have to make the best of a bad situation. Still trying to blast their way through these wrecked wall sections. And the defenses hold. But now we have the bombing run underway for that first strap bomber. It's gone straight to that 9 o'clock position where those scout planes were buzzing a moment ago. That was clearly BlInChlk looking for his target. Down goes a T2 mechs. Let's keep an eye on the impact this now has on ZLO's eco. He's dropped to 239. He was in the 250s a minute ago. You can see that's 4 dead mass points at that position. Taking a wide tack, accidentally flies over an awful lot of that flak. More coming in from the internal pond as well, but he's not done yet. Oh, just didn't get the bomb off on that other one. That would have killed a lot of engineers as well. Engineers hurriedly working on T1 point defense as some Wagners rampage through. Bomber's not hanging about down there. He's trying to mix it up. It's now coming in for the main base. How much ground-to-air fire is he going to take? There's not an awful lot. He reaches the main base, and he's going after the mass points. Down goes another T2 mechs with its associated mass storage. That's up to 29 kills now, that strap bomber. ZLO somehow, though, still in the lead. Well, that will be because BlInChlk has totally power locked himself. Presumably, he's put a lot of engineers on that air factory and was putting some down here trying to get that other reactor online, which he's now done and seems to have solved his power problems. But he is still behind. So ZLO, despite losing all of these mass points, somehow... Look at this. He's lost 4 on the southwestern causeway. I mean, he did lose about 5 or 6 in here. A few of them have been reconstructed. And he's lost 1 in the main base. And he's still up somehow. I don't know what he's doing, but I like it. I like it. Vulthu's getting caught in a really bad position, though. Get absolutely murdered across the top of BlInChlk's fleet. I'm guessing he maybe took those in to try and kill off the cruisers. I'm not seeing any cruisers in there now. And once he'd done that, it was like, yeah, I'm beaten. Although, look out! We've now got whalers down here. We've got another strap bomber. BlInChlk making absolute hay out of his air advantage. Hasn't got ASFs lingering over here to defend this, though. And we have some interceptors from ZLO moving in. And now ZLO is behind 215 to 270. This has been a successful secondary air attack from BlInChlk. He is up against it a little bit in the bay as all of the Yenzins on the map, seemingly, from ZLO have surged into the main bay area and are looking to crush the naval production facilities. He's got some flak in here, which is going to help him defend against inbound T2 gunships. The whalers have done a good job, but they've finally been picked off by swarms of T1 interceptors. I'm not even sure. Oh, he does. He has. He's got them all up here. He just didn't want to defend. BlInChlk missing out on opportunities here to keep important units alive elsewhere on the map. That's what it feels like, but it's so difficult. He'll want to hang on desperately to that T2 naval yard. Engineers getting eviscerated. That does not look good for BlInChlk. Although he might just hold it. He's got 3 tanks left to worry about, but he doesn't manage it. Oh, that's gotta hurt. That really stings. There goes his T2 naval production. And now we've got the dreaded Seraphim cruisers in the center and other T2 Seraphim vessels moving in from ZLO. So ZLO now has a tech advantage in the internal ocean. BlInChlk starting work on a new set of naval yards over in the east, hoping that a different attack vector will allow him time to get set up and maybe counter ZLO from the flank. Production from that T3 air factory now switched up to torp bombers. We've got a large contingent of Cormorant torp bombers on that beach there, waiting to be used. Cheeky little TAC missile battery, firing cheeky little missiles across the waters here at the main base of BlInChlk. How much TMD is there? There's a zapper there that's going to take out one of them. Where's this going? God, that's got some range on it. Takes out a max. It's not a max, takes out a mex. It's my brain forgetting about whether it wants to say mass point or mex. It's already got 3 kills, that one, and 2 kills the one next to it. And that zapper probably going to defend that portion of the base, but I shouldn't be surprised if we see a lot more of them. There they go, lots of zappers under construction over here. Might need 1 or 2 further out as well, judging by the trajectory that that other missile came in at. And the naval yards have been discovered. I mean, he's got radar coverage. Well, from the vessels. Might not have done when they were over here. But you see those dots arrayed in such a position, it's not a mystery. You know exactly what they are. Those wondrous Seraphim cruisers getting murdered by the looks of things, but when they're operational, cause all kinds of problems. Get to a critical mass of them, and it just becomes intolerable for your opponent, who finds himself locked in a death spiral of unending tactical missile defense production. And down go all of the naval yards at the 3 o'clock position. A little run by there from ZLO. Gets in onto that northeastern causeway, but massive counterattack from BlInChlk. This is mostly T1 spam up front. We do have a few T2 tanks over here. These Wagners rolling in behind. ZLO, I was about to say wheeling out the Ilshivers, but that's a hard thing to do with a unit that's got legs instead of wheels. Out they come. Focusing down the Wagners first of all. They will make short work of the massive quantity of Medusas. That's all of the T1 spam is. It's all Medusas up here. Another strap bomber over the top. 7 kills for him. Got his own escort detail in tow. should fare slightly better than other groups of units. A very successful bomb there takes out the shield covering the T2 point defense up front. But looks like that strat bomber ran straight into a huge pile of interceptors and got himself gizzarded. This is not the surging attack that's going to overwhelm this position. There are more units rolling in, but at the moment he's just sitting there eating point defense fire. He needs to take these two out, preferably with another strat bomb if he's got a bomber lurking somewhere, but it doesn't look like there's one popping out anytime soon. Let's have a quick look at total mass accrued, and when you look at that, ZLO is way up on the game. Look at that, 384 versus 329. It's not even close on that front. Generated eco, ZLO's up by 57 mass, 62 mass. Reclaim ZLO is up by over 11k. On the eco game, ZLO is ahead on all fronts, with the exception of power production, but that's hardly surprising. ZLO doesn't need it. He hasn't been producing a lot of Tech 3 air, or indeed any. I'm not sure if he's even got access to Tech 3 air. There's the air headquarters. That's still definitely at T2. Those cormorants we saw in production earlier now harassing the naval yards over here, going after actually the destroyers initially. And that forward position has been overwhelmed. There is a rear base back here which ZLO is still holding on to. It's shielded. It's got a T2 engineer under here with a couple of T1s working on more point defense, but it wouldn't take much for BlInChlk to overrun that as well. Goodness me, that's a lot of naval yards that BlInChlk has queued up. He's got a lot operational already. BlInChlk going mass naval spam now. Would you look at that? Some 21 T1 naval yards there. That was his reaction to losing his T2. I'm just going to try and out-spam you. Problem is he is behind on eco, and just as he's making gains at the 9 o'clock position, he's taking losses at the 3 o'clock position. ZLO bulldozing his way through the southern portion of that leaf of the locket and threatening to move all the way up to the top section as well, although we do have decent quantities of point defense. But it is all T1 and does not fare too well against all of those engineers. One lone Yenzine badly damaged, but gets in to the backfield with a renegade in tow. Oh, dodges a bomb. What a hero. I mean, sort of a hero. He didn't achieve much. More of a cultural hero than a military one. 5 kills on that strat bomber that's still working to weaken that shield. BlInChlk not charging headlong in with his spam. Perhaps waiting until the shield itself is down. Strat bomber still in the green, just over 75% base health. But look at this, all of the T1 point defense at the 3 o'clock position over here on this little entry point is down. We've now got some Yenzines breaching through the old wall, threatening T2 mechs is up here at the back. It's going to take a while to chew through those. Gunships over here trying to keep up with the workload as more Seraphim units continue to pile in. But this is a problem. The T1 versus the T2 navies. It's a problem if you're rooting for BlInChlk. ZLO very capable now of taking down these naval yards with those cruisers if he wants to. We do have some destroyers in here though, so he has got himself a T2 naval yard somewhere, although I can't see it. Where on earth is it? Or are they just hangovers from a previous age? They all look like T1 to me, unless he's lost it. Was that... that's where the old one was. Surely he didn't rebuild it and it get taken out again. I mean, quite possibly. Lots of stuff has been happening. These may just have been old vestiges from a bygone era when he had access to T2 production. But either way, he's running out of them. Looks like he's got just 2 left. 37 minutes gone. These guys not doing anything crazy, not going for anything too complex. This is pretty crucial though. The fact that ZLO has held on to the 9 o'clock leaf over here. He's able to harass on the causeway with his T2 vessels in the center pond. And the fact that he has managed to take at least half of the 3 o'clock leaf over in the east. That is absolutely huge, and it shows in mass production, quite frankly. 494 versus 301 in favor of ZLO. That is absolutely untenable. And the longer that goes on without a correction, the less likely it is that BlInChlk's going to pull out of this one with a win. And we'll see one of those rare occasions where Sean Bean makes it to the end of the movie. It does happen. Answers in the comment section without looking at IMDb. Name those films that Sean Bean survived. There's not many, but there are some. And while you're down there, like and subscribe immediately. There's a new international law being passed that viewers of BlInChlk will be fined if they fail to like each and every one of the videos that they view. I was actually lobbying against it, but in the end, public outcry was too strong. Surprised that ZLO hasn't actually stuck more cruisers up here, because it's the perfect weapon. Park them up over here, get some defensive destroyers up, and just pound this area to dust. You can see a little bit of posturing here from BlInChlk, who wants to break out and go after these cruisers. But he knows if he does, he's going to get swallowed up by these destroyers. To be honest, right now, I think these destroyers could just stroll up here and cut all this to ribbons. I get the feeling that ZLO's enjoying this, though, that the sad, sadistic feeling that RTS players get when they're ahead, like a cat toying with an injured mouse. Slowly picking him off bit by bit. 40 minutes down. That's a very large group of cormorants, though. Torpedo bombers making a beeline, no nonsense, straight towards the cruisers. And it will get both of them, I have no doubts of that, and that will give some of these factories up here a bit of a reprieve. But goodness me, their number has been cut in half after those last few attacks. We have some flak over here to help the cruisers with anti-air capabilities. Hello! What do we got here? Well, that could just be the final nail in the coffin for BlInChlk, an experimental bomber. I would be very surprised to see anything experimental shaped going on for BlInChlk, who's just trying to contain everything that's going on at this point. This is the view from his side of things. And that's not a great position to be in at 41 minutes into a game of Bermuda Locket, and he knows it. Awasar over 75% complete and climbing. And now the big naval battle kicks off. ZLO's T2 surges forward into the arms of the frigates lying in wait, and the experimental bomber is complete and takes off. Spy plane moving overhead. I'm wondering if he'd seen it on a previous scouting run. Hasn't got a read on it as yet, so may well be very much unaware of what's coming his way. But look at those destroyers just chop their way through those vulnerable naval yards and in over the top. An Awasar to ruin your day. It's going straight for the T3 reactors, as you expect it should. Offloads its bomb and takes out everything that was ever important to him. ASFs move in to try and shoot it down. There's not actually that many of them. We have a lot of strat bombers that are up over here, though. BlInChlk completely power locked after losing his entire power grid. I mean, I say that, he's still putting out 12k power, which is 3 times the amount that ZLO is. Oh no, that's a massive correction there. Must have been the other way around. That did seem strange. Experimental bomber down into the red, though. But all of the ASFs have been used up. ZLO hip to what's going on over here, moving what air power he's got to engage. But it's not a lot. Interceptors and Notha fighter bombers. Not the ideal weapon to counter a strat bomber attack. He is bringing back his Awasar. That's got some decent anti-air capabilities. There is a lot of shielding around his comm, and he's working on the nano repair now, which will give him a lot of extra survivability. Strat bombers looking for their easiest approach. It looks like he's coming in directly from the south. The Awasar has been brought back to use its anti-air capabilities. It opens up. The cormorants come in just for a little bit of distraction. But that is not enough to breach the shields. And the strats are taken out. But there is another group coming in from behind. A little bit of a split attack. ZLO has moved his comm further forward to take advantage of better shielding. And that surely is game right there. He's lost all of the naval yards up here. What units he's got on the causeway are down and out. And the Control K is real as he capitulates at 44 minutes and 30 seconds. ZLO masterfully picking apart his opponent and pulling out the win just inside 3/4 of an hour. There you go. Sean Bean survives. Who had it coming? You're either very smart or very embarrassed. Congratulations. Either way, well done both players. Highly entertaining. I hope you enjoyed it, guys. Don't forget, before you go, if you are looking for more content, you've seen everything, my Patreon is a mere $1 a month. Think about what you can actually buy for these days with $1. Not a great deal, and that's going to become even worse as the Fed continues to print money like it's going out of fashion. What have you got? Well, you've got 38 casts, I believe, now for privileged viewing only to Patreon clients. So do go and check that out. Link in the description below this video, guys. Thank you so much. That's not a thing. Until next time, that's what was supposed to come out. Stay well and stay safe. This is Guile, signing out.